Animal welfare has been an issue within industrial farming for as long as it has existed, but things are looking up for the animals in factory farms that feed our country, as laws have and are being passed in order to treat animals better within these types of farms. But is it enough? Is it worth investing in alternative methods of farming, such as community or free-range farms, which are known for their animal welfare standards, even though it may mean slowing down our animal produce consumption? Here we take a look at Fancy's Farm, an English community farm in Dorset.
Here we are a working farm. We do produce animals for meat, but that's a very, very small part of what we do. We don't look for an income. If we make a profit, it gets rolled back into the farm because it's a community interest company. Always said, so long as the farm pays for itself, which it just about does, that's all we need to make. Everybody can get involved. I always say, this isn't my farm, this is your farm. As a visitor, as a volunteer, whatever you want to do here, we should be able to cater for it. We even get people sent here from the GPs, from the doctor's surgeries. Children with learning difficulties and adults with learning difficulties. Some of them volunteer here. Others will come with supervision with them with carers, and we'll do our best to involve them in the farm and make them feel valued.
Compared to compact industrial farming, housing hundreds of one type of animal, community farms like John's has multiple species of animal in small numbers, offering low stock density.
We've got about 80 odd chickens if you count every chicken, about 50 sheep, various rare breeds, Portland sheep in particular, and then we've got some rare breed horses as well. Quite a few animals that you don't actually see, but at least 200 different animals, and we try and keep the variety different. Her mum rejected her because she had a bladder infection.
Industrial farming's main priorities are maximising the production of meat and milk with as minimal cost as possible. But on John's farm, the fields are not overpopulated. Is this better for the animals?
Much better for the animals. We get to know each animal individually. They've all got names. So it is very difficult sending them off to the abattoir when the time comes. But when that time comes, I know that those animals have been reared in the best possible conditions with the minimal amount of drugs required, rather than growth hormones and antibiotics that most of them get in commercial farming, and with minimal impact on the environment as well. Industrial farming needs to change. At the moment, it's all in a complete stranglehold by the food producers. For instance, any male animal in a dairy herd just gets shot, pretty much, because the mother has to have a baby to produce milk. The baby's taken away, and most of them just get shot. They don't even go into pet food. That needs to change. We need to start taking those animals, rearing them for meat, and putting them back into the food chain. Adrenaline is very bad for meat, so the animals need to be calm. They don't need to be panicked because the adrenaline makes the meat really tough. Chickens, we only use them for eggs, which are guaranteed female. Then they go out into the main chicken area, where they've got a large shed to roost in and lay their eggs in. And our chicken area, they are free-ranging as soon as I let them out in the morning. So I let them out at 8 a.m. And they're out, they can go right out across the goat field, wherever they want to. They've got about 3 acres, I should think, to range in. And then we shut them back in at night to save them from foxes. So they get as many bugs and grubs and grass as they want. They can scratch in the dirt. So perfectly natural behaviour. In the coop, we clean it out whenever it needs it. We don't handle them physically. There's perch space for every chicken. And we don't kill the chickens when they stop laying eggs either. A lot of places get rid of them at 72 weeks, 18 months. But we let them live on until they drop dead naturally. All chickens suffer with a problem called red mite, little mites that live on the perches, and they'll go and bite their legs when they're roosting. So we treat the house every time we clean it out, sort of once or twice a week. Right. The pigs, so they're on very substantial concrete pens which have they have a slope to them, so they drain into a gully, which is really useful. Each pen has got an area where there's some soil as well, so they can root around in that. And the pens get washed out as necessary. They get cleaned out every morning, and the pigs get rebedded when their bedding is wet or dirty. The two larger pigs, we use them for breeding. We breed them and rear their offspring for meat. They're kept with mum for about 8 weeks. At that point, we'll move them out into a separate pen and feed them. We feed the pigs, the adult pigs, on pig pellets, standard pig pellets. Baby ones would be on weaner, rearer pellets. But I do go in there and give them cuddles and belly rubs as often as I can. And when they get hot, we'll hose them, which they quite like as well. I think one of the pens has got a big old bright pink float from a fishing net or a buoy or something like that.
Pigs are highly intelligent creatures and need to investigate things. They have high seeking capabilities, and when outside with hay to play with and new interesting objects, their welfare standards are kept very high.
The sheep, they're reared for meat, some of them. We are the traditional home of rare breed Portland sheep, of which there is only about 2,000 left in the world. Portland sheep, being a rare breed, they only tend to have one baby. So they've died out because commercially they're non-viable. You're only getting 100% back per year per ewe. We keep their fields as clean as possible because obviously they defecate all over the place, and then they're trying to eat the grass from between what they've left there. So we go out, we rake the sheep fields by hand and pick up the poo. The biggest problem with sheep is fly strike, which is where the green bottle fly will lay eggs on the sheep if their bums are dirty, and the maggots will eat the sheep. It's horrible. Bunnies can get it as well. And the best way to deal with that is to shear them. We only put them in the pen just before they're going to be sheared. So they're only sort of kept cooped up for a few minutes. So they're much better off out in the weather. Their fleeces get washed out by the rain, so it keeps them a lot cleaner and much healthier. The biggest problem with predators is with the lambs when they're first born. Jackdaws, rooks, magpies, crows or ravens. If the lamb doesn't get up quickly enough and get on its feet, or if it's weak, they will come and take the eyes. We try and get the sheep into the barn before they give birth, or certainly in somewhere close to where we are going to be, so that we can hear or prevent any problems like that. The two cows, they're going to be reared for breeding, the same as the pigs, so they won't go into meat, but their babies will do. We reared them in the barn until I think it was about April this year, so they are nicely bedded up in the barn, nice and warm, plenty of food and water, whatever they needed. They both had ringworm when we got them. All calves will have ringworm at some point. You'll notice if our cows are up and about, you'll notice that they're really friendly. That's because I would spend hours every night in with the calves, but treating their ringworm. So I spent a lot of time just cuddling them, stroking them, scratching them, and treating them at the same time, so they're super friendly. Now they're out in the field, we clean their field every morning, fresh water all the time, as much hay and feed as they like, and they seem pretty happy. They're growing well, they look fabulous. Basically, let them get used to their environment slowly. When we first put them outside, we've got an area at the top behind the top building, which we fenced off, just a little area, so they could get used to the outside world. I wouldn't get anybody to move the cows who the cows didn't know, and they've got completely used to their environment now. Values, animal health, safety and care is top of the list. We rotate the animals around. If we leave animals in one particular field for a long time, then any parasites that they ingest, say for instance worms, and then we treat those worms, it never kills all of the parasites. So the ones where the eggs pass through the system back into the ground, they would be resistant to the wormer. So then they re-ingest them, and then they're infected with worms that are resistant, and the wormer is less effective. So we're going to rotate the goats round very shortly, the next couple of days, so that we can rest those areas, let the parasite numbers in the ground drop. We keep our animal welfare standards as high as possible anyway.
That's why the chances of animals developing serious disease at a place like Fancy's farm are greatly reduced, where the caring treatment of animals is valued highly. Community farms such as John's keep their welfare standards as high as possible with a clean, stimulating and caring environment.